I want you to know exactly what I went through, because, I mean, I'm being judged by the world, you know, for my actions and everything.
Hello, and welcome back to 1 Minute Remaining. My name is Jack Lawrence, the host and creator of this show. Today is part 3 of the story of Mary Rice, a lady who is serving a life plus 30-year sentence in Florida for what police say was her role in a murder crime spree that lasted from the 31st of January 2017 until February 6th.
The woman accused in a multi-state crime spree that left 4 people dead has been found guilty.
Mary says she had nothing to do with the crimes and was just another victim of a violent and abusive criminal named Billy Boyette.
So Mary, just look at me and let's be honest with each other right now. There's surveillance of both you guys, Billy getting out of the white car and unloading stuff out of the black car. You getting out of the black car and helping to move stuff from the black car to the white car as well, and then you both getting in the white car and leaving.
Yeah, and you see where he gets mad at me.
So like I said, there was never a third person up there.
In our previous episode, we heard how Billy Boyette had begun his crime spree by killing his girlfriend, Alicia Greer, and her friend, Jacqueline Moore, at the Emerald Sands Inn in Milton, Florida. He had already become a prime suspect after police discovered that Alicia Greer had been hospitalized recently by Billy Boyette in an act of domestic violence. And Alicia Greer had in fact made a complaint to police about him. However, there was no signs of Billy Boyette at this time. What we now know is that he was on his way to Mary Rice's home, where she says he forces her at gunpoint to leave with him. Fearing for her children's safety, who she says Billy claimed to have had someone watching them, she leaves with him. 2 days after the murders on the 2nd of February, Mary's mother went to police to report her daughter missing. She was taking care of Mary's children at the time and told police that she was concerned for her daughter's well-being, who she hadn't heard from, and she said this was highly unusual. Mary was described to police as a single mother of 3 who was doing her best to provide for her children. She worked at a local Dollar General to try and make ends meet. She was a loving mother who everyone that made statements to police said would just never abandon her children, and they were all extremely worried for her safety. After police attended Mary's home, they would learn from neighbours that they had seen Billy Boyette at her house recently. They were told that he was known to hang around that area and that there was a good chance that he was involved. And so the manhunt for Billy Boyette is on.
I remember we stopped somewhere around, I want to say somewhere around like Lake City for something to drink. Boyette parked where he could see me in the store. It was just a little gas station. Boyette had told me I best not do anything stupid. When I got back in the SUV, I got hit in the stomach. Boyette reminded me he was not playing with me. Boyette mixed some pills and a drink. It looked to be like Xanax bars or something. It was like little white pills or whatever. Later I would find out that they were Dilaudid because they were found in his bag. Boyette made me drink the mix. Boyette kept saying to himself it was an accident, looking at me crazy shortly after I fell asleep. When I finally woke up, we were down south towards Tampa, Orlando area. I want to say it was Tampa area.
Mary and Billy had covered some serious ground in their first 2 days on the road. The initial murders occurred in Milton, Florida, and Mary says they then stopped for the first time in Lake City, which is 200 miles east. She then falls asleep again due to the drugs that she'd been forced to take by Boyette. When she wakes up, she believes they're around the area of Tampa, Florida, which is yet another 170 miles south near Orlando. Why Billy was going this way, we don't know, because eventually he would make his way all the way back to essentially where the crime spree began.
I was still groggy. Boyette stopped by a CVS after a little while. He wanted me to get him a prepaid phone with minutes.
Just quickly, for those outside of the US, a CVS is an American pharmacy chain that also sells a multitude of other items, including some electrical goods like phones.
Now he had a phone that worked fine. There was nothing wrong with his phone. It was a CVS in a little shopping mall area. Boyette told me to be quick about it, act normal, do not bring any attention to myself, that if he seen any sign of cops or anything, he would make one phone call and I would never see my kids again. So, and he would text somebody, so I knew that he was in contact with someone else. There was someone else that he kept staying in contact with. So I really believe that he would have killed my kids. He kept telling me that he would make sure that I would never see them again. I was scared of him, and I believed he would kill my family. So I did as he wanted. When I got into the SUV, he gave me a crazy look. Boyette drove off. I believe we were heading north this time. Not sure. Boyette had handed me a Xanax, told me to take it. And I didn't really take pills, so, when he would give me these things, they would really, really mess with me. So Boyette was just driving around for a while. Then he drove down the road a ways, not very far from the CVS. He pulled into a Walmart. Boyette wanted the phone that I had just got to get activated. So he couldn't activate it. He had tried and he couldn't do it. And he had told me that he would be in there with me. Boyette had tried to activate the phone already, but he wasn't having any luck.
This would be one of the 2 Walmarts that the pair would visit over the coming days. And surveillance footage again from these stores would become a vital part of the prosecution's case.
So once again, Boyette wants me to go into the store. And this time he would be there watching me. Boyette said, I does not do anything stupid, or he would stay, or he would start shooting people for me to remember about my kids. And, now I have a lot of people that I got to worry about. I just needed to act normal, not bring any attention to myself. I was already feeling the Xanax he had given me. Boyette said that he knew it would take a little while, but he would be watching me. So I got out and went in the store, and I was walking around kind of dazed because I'm still feeling Xanax and everything, trying to gather myself to talk to the sales assistant about this phone. Then I went to the back to get help on the phone. It took a while for her to activate the phone, so we went to this Walmart before we ended up at the other Walmart, and I tried to stay busy and not to fall asleep. I had brought some stuff to the counter that I had been looking at you could tell but from the videos and that you should be able to, that I was kind of out of it after I checked out. I had waved. I had seen the SUV and I had waved to let him know that I was not doing anything crazy, to not hurt anyone. Boyette was mad whenever I got into the SUV. He said that I took too long. That would not happen again. He would show me. I guess I fell asleep for a while. Boyette wakes me up. He was pulling into a gas station, asked me if I could get this right. Boyette had me go in and buy some alcohol from there. He pulls into a motel parking lot with a campground in the back of it, an RV campground. Boyette had me rent a room for the night.
So, a word of warning, what you're about to hear is Mary's accounts of what happened in that motel that evening. I did say to Mary that we did not have to go through this process of her reliving what she says happened to her in that motel room, but she said that she wanted to share it and this is why.
We can avoid talking about this particular situation. You know, I don't want you to have to relive this stuff over and over again.
Well, I want the readers to know what I went through.
Okay.
I want them to know, everything.
Yep.
I want them to know. You can't sit here and judge me and say this and that unless you know what I've been through, So I want you to know. I want you to know exactly what I went through. Because, I'm being judged by the world,
Yep.
For my actions and everything. And, all I did was try to save people and make sure that nobody else got hurt, Boyette pulls the gun out from his pants. He walks up to me, puts the end of the gun to my head, pushes it real hard to my temple. Then he pulls the trigger. He plays Russian roulette with me a lot. It doesn't go off. So then Boyette hits me with the gun on my right side of my head. I stumble back a little, dazed, put my hand up to my face. Then he sits down on the bed beside his backpack. Boyette rolls up spice. He's always smoking spice the whole time, pretty much. Every time that I was awake, anyway. Boyette keeps telling me if I know what is good for me, that I will just do what he says. Boyette looks around the room, pulls me to the bedroom, makes me get undressed. So does he. Boyette tells me to get in the shower. He joins me. I'm asking him to stop. He rapes me in the shower, shoves me against the wall. Okay, when he gets done, he gets out of the shower. He stays in the bathroom with me, tells me to wash up and get out. He stays in there with me till I'm done and dressed. Boyette begins to start drinking. After a little while he stands up, coming over to me and starts strangling me. Does this until I pass out. Then I come to, and he does it again and again until I wake up with urine all over myself. So he had strangled me to the point where he almost killed me. He was like, "You pissed all over yourself. Get up and clean yourself up." It takes me a minute to gather myself. I make it to the bathroom. Boyette says, "Do not close the door." I wash my pants in the tub. I have a towel around me. When I am wringing out my pants, he tells me to come here. So I turn to come out the bathroom. He hits me like a full-grown man in my chest. I fall to the floor. I'm out of breath. He grabs me by my hair, and he drags me to the bed again.
From Tampa, Billy then heads back along the same route that they had taken, driving 420 miles back to an area known as Crestview, which is in fact just over 30 miles from where the murders of Alicia and Jacqueline were committed. And it is here they visit another Walmart where Mary says she is sent in to the gun section to purchase ammunition.
We got out of the car, and he had got out with me, and he had went all the way to the door with me, and he was right there. He was like, "You need to go in there, and you need to get this."
So was he with you? Did he go with you to the gun shop, or he told you what you needed to go to the gun shop and get?
No, he was there.
Okay.
So he was there.
But he was making
door.
you buy it.
Yeah, he didn't go into the gun shop, but he was right there at the door of the gun shop.
Right. Okay. And he said, "This is what I need you to get. You're
and
gonna go."
He had a small loaded gun outside of the gun shop, and there was just one woman in there. He was on the outside of the door. So I knew at any second he could come in there and he could shoot us both. So I just wanted everything to go well and for everybody to live through this madman.
They obviously stated that he sits and waits in the car, but is that not correct? He actually wasn't in the car. He was actually outside the store?
Yes.
Okay.
So, no, he Okay, when we went for the ammunition, then he was out in the car. Whenever we went for the phones to get done, he was in the store with me. I got what I was supposed to get, and then I left. And then once in the SUV, Boyette is still mad driving around. Boyette drugs me again. He was always giving me drugs, especially whenever we were riding around and he wanted me to sleep or whatever. He would give me concoctions. After we leave the small gun shop, I believe that we were riding around Fort Walton. We ended up going through a toll bridge, and he paid for the toll bridge. He was yelling at me. He was reaching over, hitting on me, to the point he was losing control of the vehicle. I know there was cameras on the toll bridges, and I told my attorney to pull the camera footage from then, around that time. But, he was working with the state, so he wouldn't do anything to help me. So, there was a lot of things that I asked him to do that he didn't do. He kept beating on me until he knocked me out. And by then, the drugs had already gotten to my system and everything. I passed out, and I believe I passed out from him hitting on me and, the drugs too. So I was passed out for a very long time. When I came to, we were in some woods, and I didn't know if it was evening or in the morning because the sun was coming up. You know how it's like in between, morning and night. But at the time, I was confused. I didn't know. It was kind of dark morning. I don't know how long I had been asleep. When I came to, I was sitting there. Boyette was outside of the vehicle on his phone. He was yelling at someone on the phone, saying, "You made me do it." Then he turned around and he got wind of me. He seen me sitting in the vehicle. I was awake. He comes over there to the door and he opens it. He gets off the phone and he opens the door. He is like, "This is all my fault." He started biting at me like a dog. You know how a dog comes at you and starts biting at you? And I put my hands up. He bit at me and wouldn't stop biting at me. He was literally biting at my face, so I was putting my hands up. And when I had my hands up, he started hitting on me in the chest again. I was already having a hard time breathing. My legs were hurting from the cigarette burns. I'm having a real difficult time from all the abuse that he's already done to me. At this point, I believe that we were in Alabama. So, so I'm not talking about anything to do with Alabama.
Okay, right.
Because I haven't went to court in Alabama, so I'm not talking about anything
Fair enough.
Has to do with Alabama.
So at this part of the story, this is where Mary is not willing to go into any details, as there is a murder that occurred in an area known as Lillian across the border in Alabama. Now, Mary has not yet faced any trials for this particular part of the crime spree, so she's not wanting to say anything that could potentially incriminate her or that could be used against her at a later date. So because Mary is unable to talk about this part, I'm going to do my best to fill in the gaps from what I know based on what the police's version of events is. Now, just a quick note that the version of events that you're about to hear from police didn't actually come to light until after Mary had already been arrested and was in custody. Police say that on Friday the 3rd of February, Billy Boyette and Mary Rice are in Lillian, Alabama, an area that was home to a lady called Peggy Bross, a 50-year-old respiratory therapist. Peggy worked at a hospital in Pensacola, which was located just back across the border in Florida, around 20 miles from her home. Peggy worked the graveyard shift from 6 p.m. till 6 a.m. and then would eventually make it home around just after 7 o'clock in the morning. On that Friday, Peggy was going about life as normal, and just after 6 a.m., she leaves work for home. At her home, her husband John was laying in bed asleep when he's suddenly woken by a noise that he initially believes is the front door closing. He thinks that his wife must be home from work, and he rolls over and goes back to sleep. Just after 8 a.m, John is now awake and gets out of bed. As he walks out of the bedroom, he calls out for his wife, but she doesn't answer. He would go to the front door and notices that it's still locked from the night before when he went to bed. He opens the door and steps outside of the house. And that is when he sees his wife laying on the ground, and her car was gone. Police would later say that Mary and Billy had followed Peggy home, and when she pulled up outside the house, Boyette got out of the car and shot and killed her, with Billy jumping in and stealing Peggy's white Chrysler and Mary following behind in the black SUV. Mary picks up the story as they're heading out of Alabama and back towards Pensacola.
Back on the interstate, going towards Pensacola. So whenever we were riding down the road going towards Pensacola way, the radio was on, and there was something about Emerald Sands. He shut the radio off. We pull into a Family Dollar. I had got out. We both got out, and we went into the store. He was saying, "You made me do it," stuff like that, and he was getting all crazy again, getting loud, becoming belligerent. He's talking about killing people, and the sales assistant is listening to him, walking with us. I'm not saying anything. He's getting some stuff. We get to the counter. And he's talking about killing his girlfriend, and he doesn't have his wallet. It's in the car. So I had a prepaid card with a little bit of money on it. So I used it. I used the card because I didn't know what he was capable of right then. It looked like he was losing his mind for real at that precise moment.
Obviously, we will get to the trial very shortly, but the sales assistant that Mary is referring to here would in fact take the stand and confirm that what she's saying is true, that Billy Boyette indeed told her that he just killed his girlfriend. However, she thought he was just joking.
After we left the Family Dollar, the tire blew. Before the tire blew, he had told me how stupid I was for using the card. He took the card and he threw the card out the window, and he continued to hit on me. Then the tire blew, and we were at the Pensacola exit coming back from Alabama. I knew it was the Pensacola exit because I used to sell shrimp, and we used to go to Bio Battery that way to get shrimp. So that would be the last chance exit before the long bridge to go to get the shrimp. So that was our bathroom break. Then that was the exit, the first exit coming back from Alabama into Florida. So right there before the exit, the tire blew. He gets out, he pulls me out of the car, he pops the trunk to see if there's a tire there. There is a spare tire in there, but no way to get it out. So he shoots the tire out of its holding, out of the holder that the tire was in, to get it out. Then there is no jack, nothing for him to use to put the tire on. So he drags me across the road. There's not a lot of traffic. It's in the middle of the night. We go up a hill. He pulls me up the hill. It has woods and stuff. It's real steep. It's to a huge fence, and it was big, like it was really tall. And he realizes that we can't get over the fence. So then he drags me back across the road, gets in the car, and drives the car onto the ramp, going like it was the ramp that you come off of. We ended up going down that ramp, going the wrong direction. When we get around the ramp, around the corner of the ramp, he sees a wooden area, and he cuts the car sharp floors it into some trees.
All murders are, of course, senseless. However, there seemed to be an even higher level of senselessness to Peggy's murder, as her 2003 white Chrysler would be found the day after she was killed, abandoned in some woods with a flat tyre around the area of Pensacola. The hardest part about this entire case for me has been trying to establish a timeline of where Boyette and Mary were on specific days across this 8-day crime spree. The only time we could be sure of their whereabouts is when either a crime is committed, they're seen on CCTV, or there's a specific clue, such as the dumping of the white Chrysler. As mentioned, the route that's being taken and the areas they are travelling to seem just utterly random and chaotic. And Mary says that at no point did Boyette ever tell her what his plans were. And she's unable to really pinpoint where they were on specific dates, as she says, for the most part, she was drugged.
Did he ever say to you at any point, did he ever tell you what the purpose of this, what was happening, where you were going, what any of the purpose of this was? He never had any conversations with you about what he was planning to do, where you guys were going to be going? Nothing at all?
No, he would drug me and to where he didn't have to talk to me. So,
Okay.
I was out of it a lot. So, and he didn't want me knowing what he was doing. So he was out of his mind. He was a crazy man.
Okay.
We weren't partners. It's not like we were having conversations along the way and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was his hostage. I was his prisoner. He had me for like 8 days.
Yes.
So what happened to me is long, because this is a long 8 days. This is hell for me. I have to relive this every single day in prison. Being here, I relive, how I got here. And, God has a purpose for me, and I know that. But at the same time, I don't understand how the state can put an innocent person in prison that didn't do anything to anyone. I didn't hurt anyone. I didn't kill anyone. I didn't help him hurt anyone. I was just fighting for my own life. Literally fighting for my own life. And I was just trying to make sure along the way that anything that I was involved in, that nobody got shot or killed along with myself. So like if you were there with me, and he wanted me to do something, or else he was going to shoot you in the head, well, guess what? I was going to do something so he didn't shoot you.
And that's basically because obviously, they're talking about the Walmart and Crestview buying the ammunition and the camping gear. That again was you going in there to ensure that he didn't hurt anyone, yourself, obviously your family.
So he didn't unload in the store on these people, So imagine if I wasn't there, and imagine if, he just was running around rampantly. There would have been a whole lot more people that would have died than what did. And that's just the reality of it.
Well, so we're just going quickly back to the Walmart and Crestview and the buying of the ammo and the camping gear or whatever. They obviously stated that he sits and waits in the car, but is that not correct? He actually wasn't in the car. He was actually outside the store?
Yes.
Okay.
So, no, when we went for the ammunition, then he was out in the car. Whenever we went for the phones to get done, he was in the store with me.
Right. Okay.
We went to two different Walmarts.
Sure. Okay.
So, yes.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt you. I just want to make sure that I'm covered, because I'm just sort of looking at details as you're talking, and then I just want to make sure we don't miss anything, because what happens is obviously people listen to this and then they'll do their own Googling and they'll be like, why didn't you ask this, or what about this? So I just want to make sure we cover everything. That's all.
Right. And I understand that. I understand that fully. So, and I want them to know, I want them to know why this or why that,
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so sorry to interrupt you. So we've obviously covered the Crestview. So just going further through the timeline. So we've got now to a different hotel situation. Is this closing into the point of February 6th now?
I don't remember the dates. I remember locations and like what happened to me in those locations.
Yep.
Because if someone kicks you around, you're going to remember that. If someone, pulls a gun on you at this place, you're going to remember that. That's the things that have stuck in my head are the events that, where I got hit at, where I got beat at.
You have 1 minute remaining.
And that's all we've got time for. But coming up, a fourth woman would sadly lose her life at the hands of Billy Boyette.
Now, Kayla Crocker was just 28 years old, a mother of 2 children, a 2-year-old boy and a 6-year-old girl. Now, the boy was actually at home when Boyette allegedly shot her.
And eventually, the pair are cornered in a motel. And Billy Boyette takes the easy road out.
The manhunt for a triple murder suspect is over. Billy Boyette Jr. is dead and Mary Rice is in custody. Police tracked the couple to a motel in West Point, Georgia, where Boyette killed himself and police arrested Rice.
Next time on 1 Minute Remaining. 1 Minute Remaining is a Mashed Pumpkin production, created, hosted and produced by Jack Lawrence. Audio and sound design by Jack Lawrence and Dom Evans of Earsay.